Let's get into it. Operations are set to resume at the Ukrainian Black Sea port of Odessa after Russia used Iranian-made drones to hit energy facilities in the city. The port in the south of the country was closed after strikes on Saturday left 1.5 million people and all non-critical infrastructure without power. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, it could take days to restore electricity, with sub-zero temperatures expected this week. Odessa is one of 3 ports being used to ship grain under a UN broker deal. The agreement, mediated by Turkey and the UN, allows Ukrainian products to be transported safely to the rest of the world. The deal has helped bring down soaring global food prices.
Restoration works continue in the south of our country. We are doing everything to return lives to Odessa. At this time, it has become possible to partially restore supplies in Odessa and other cities and districts in the region. We're doing everything to reach the maximum number possible under conditions that developed after the Russian strikes. But now the Odessa region is still among the regions with the most frequent outages. The situations remain difficult in Kyiv and its region, Lviv region, Vinnytsia region, Ternopil city and its region, Chernihiv city and its region, Zakarpattia, Sumy region. We are constantly working with partners to make the situation easier and give our people more opportunities and more electricity. I spoke with President Macron today. It was quite a long conversation, more than an hour, and very meaningful. Defense, energy, economy, diplomacy. We are coordinating steps, preparing for the implementation of our peace formula. Mr. President Macron is supportive of it. And this is very important for us. Today I also spoke with the President of Turkey, Erdogan. As always, we had a very detailed conversation and about what is important, not only for Ukraine and Turkey, but what is truly of global importance.
Meanwhile, the governor in exile of Luhansk in eastern Ukraine, Serhiy Haidai, says Ukrainian forces have struck a headquarters of Russia's Wagner mercenary group with major losses. Haidai said a hotel where the group met in Kadivka, Luhansk, had been hit. Over the weekend, fighting also raged in southern Ukraine, with Russia targeting Odessa and Ukraine bombarding a target in the occupied city of Melitopol. Wagner are state-sponsored mercenaries who act in the Kremlin's interest, according to Western experts. The private military company set up by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a former restaurateur and close associate of Russian President Vladimir Putin, has repeatedly been accused of war crimes and human rights abuses. Wagner units have previously been deployed in Crimea, in Syria, Libya, Mali, and the Central African Republic. Well, back in Ukraine, the Donetsk region continues to suffer heavy shelling as firefighters were extinguishing residual burning at Mayak, its lighthouse market today. The market was hit by shelling the evening before. The Russian-installed authorities of self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic say the market was hit by Ukrainian multiple rocket launcher. An eyewitness said that many small shops and pavilions were destroyed by the shelling, which happens now and then, but not as strong as the latest one. A local Russian-installed authorities claim the site repeatedly came under artillery strikes as firefighters were still at work. However, there are no reports of casualties or injuries. Since 2014, Donetsk has been under the control of Russian-backed separatists who have accused Ukraine of shelling and targeting civilian infrastructure. But as fighting continues, Ukrainian army doctors are having their own medical battles, trying to save lives on the front line. On the heaviest days of fighting in the east of the country, teams of army doctors near the front line can carry out 5 amputations at a time as they try to save limbs and lives. But no 2 days are the same. At a military hospital in the Donetsk region that treats soldiers wounded in some of the fiercest battles in nearly 10 months of the war with Russian forces. Saving damaged limbs bound tightly on the battlefield to prevent blood loss is the first priority for many of the medics, who say the main goal is to simply save lives. Now, an international team working on A team of legal advisors are working with local prosecutors in Ukraine's recaptured city of Kherson in recent days as they begin gathering evidence of alleged sexual crimes by Russian forces as part of a full-scale investigation. A visit by a team from Global Rights Compliance and International Legal Practice, headquartered in The Hague, has not previously been reported. Their efforts are part of a broader international effort to support overwhelmed Ukrainian authorities as they seek to hold Russians accountable for crimes they allegedly committed during the conflict, now nearly 10 months old. Moving on, the body of Lemekani Nyirenda, a Zambian student who was killed in Ukraine fighting for Russia, has been returned to his home country. Nyirenda is said to have died in September, but Russian officials only informed Zambian authorities last month. He was a 23-year-old student at the Moscow Engineering Physics Institute and had been serving 9 years in prison for a drug offense. According to the Zambian government, which says it's still seeking more information surrounding their citizen's death, Nyirenda was given an amnesty in exchange for fighting for Russia in Ukraine. Foreign Minister Stanley Kakubo said last week that after asking for an explanation about how Nyirenda had ended up in Ukraine, they were informed that Russia allows for prisoners to be provided an opportunity for pardon in exchange for participation in the special military operation, which is how Russia refers to its war in Ukraine. Nyiryenda's body arrived in the capital Lusaka on Sunday. He's been handed over to pathologists for examination. A family spokesperson said in a statement the body will be given to the family for burial after a post-mortem has been completed. The family also says they want someone to be held accountable for his death, saying they have been robbed of a life with him. Just one more story on Ukraine. In one of the epicenters of the recent fighting, eyewitness videos show a volunteer playing the piano inside a destroyed church in Bakhmut in the Donetsk region. There it is. Piano's brother says the siblings are volunteers who travel to areas impacted by the war. So far, they say they've donated over 20 sleeping bags for the military, as well as over 100 gifts for children. Pictures online from inside the Church of Our Lady of the Holy Rosary in Bakhmut match the video posted online showing the same fresco paintings and the piano.